Okay, you're now live.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our August 20th Tourism Sustainability Board meeting. It's been since June 18th that we met last, so it's been a little while. Just doing a quick roll call here in the boardroom representing the city. We have Alana and Travis and Josh, and Tara is joining us on the controls. Representing the board, we have Richard, Lawrence, Melissa, Nick, Kevin, Tracy, Dawn, Jeff, and myself. And we have a couple of guys that are joining us for a presentation in a little bit. Did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes from the June 18th meeting? Any questions, comments, or concerns on those minutes? Okay, then I will ask for a mover on them. Lawrence, and a seconder. Nick, all in favor? Okay, and those minutes carried. Did we have any declarations of pecuniary interests? No. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah,
Oh, yes, okay. Okay, so this is Richard with regards to the Curly Classic.
Okay,
I don't know, I have a question about that just because we're sponsoring. We're one of the sponsors of the curve. So I don't know if that puts me in conflict or not, so I believe it does. Not just with rooms, but we're actually paying sponsor, that's the difference. That's why I clarify.
as a sponsor,
Sponsor. Henderson,
we'll err on the side of caution.
Yep,
Yeah,
sure.
I would say it's probably okay, but
it's no different than Richard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get you to fill in the form.
Okay,
So we'll declare the two
okay,
for Henderson Metal.
so can we just have a quick, where does that sort of fall? Because there is another event up here that I participated in as well, so should I declare more on that?
So when I talked to the clerk's office about, because hoteliers always benefit from events that happen, that's the
Yeah.
nature of the business of what we do. Their understanding and their is that it's not a conflict of interest for your hotel to benefit from events. That is what the purpose of what we do. The conflict comes in when it's a personal gain. So it's a monetary personal gain.
So then I would not be a.
Okay. Yeah, I think you would be in the same position as a host hotel.
No, as a host hotel, it's not.
already there, it's.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I would say that you're
Yeah.
okay, we will take Richard's declaration. of pecuniary interest. Okay,
And circle back on that a bit.
I do have it in writing from
Yeah.
the clerk, because the question came out, because the nature of what we do is tourism. With hoteliers, it's always going to drive
Yeah.
traffic.
I'll just chat with you after.
Might be different from your side. Yeah. We could always declare a conflict on err on the side of caution, and that's the way to get around any sort of controversy. Yeah.
I'm happy to declare on that one and step aside. If we feel that that's better.
Sorry, I think the difference is hosting versus sponsoring.
Sponsoring, yeah.
So I'm putting, which I don't normally do, putting cash forward for this, so that's why I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure, not me personally, but my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it's sort of in the same. There's no other financial gain there than we're getting. Okay, Travis, Alana, I will look to you two for the tourism overview and update.
Okay, I'm gonna keep this brief, and I'm gonna turn it over to Alana after I speak my points. With respect to the waterfront design plan, we are getting very close. We should have the final draft within the next week or two. Kind of outstanding items have been the discussion on the connecting streets to Queen Street. How we're treating those, so the Allegan, Spring, Brock and East. Just in terms of whether they're kind of pedestrianized or more open for vehicular traffic. So we're just finalizing that with O2. And then in the process of refining the cost estimate. Kind of those items coupled with summer vacation has caused delay there, but it should be, we're hoping to finalize that within the next 2 weeks. visitor spend, we're nearly complete. With that, we've been going back and forth with the light. The last outstanding item is the calculation of overnight stays. One of the kind of core components that we're struggling with is we know the average spend per day, but how we account for hotel night spend. Because we've kind of got to refine it to somewhat determine like whether we're trying to extract how many people are staying in a room. And also coupled with the fact that 70% of the rooms are booked outside of Sault Ste. Marie, so they're not captured as part of the data that Deloitte has. So that's the other item. The last item I'll speak to before turning it over to Alana is the trail construction is going incredibly well. We're about 70% complete. We've got a handful more trails out at the Crystal Lake area. And those will hopefully wrap up by the end of the fall here. And those are kind of critical trails for both for the Sault Ste. Marie as well as Crank the Shield and a few of the other events that we're looking at, including winter fat bike race that will be held as part of Onsu. I'm not going to get into specifics because we're still waiting on the final report. But Sault Ste. Marie did incredibly well, and the growth was huge compared to last year. I think they've more than doubled their registration, and their out-of-town visitation last year, out-of-town registration last year was in single digits, and this year it was in triple digits. So we're just waiting on final confirmation, and then I think the kind of after event component. They thought they had roughly like close to 1,000 people post race, local vendors, beer gardens, etc. So it was like really, really substantial growth. So it was great to see. So hopefully, and they sold out the event. So hopefully what we'll see last year is that sold out component will really create a buzz. Hopefully they'll get early registration, helps their cash flow, and we can get built on that. So that was great to see. And I'll turn it over to Alana.
Yeah, just on that too, we don't have the final numbers, but Crank the Shield was held this past weekend as well. So just waiting to hear back on final numbers for that. The one point that I wanted to share is the Ontario government has released the big guidelines for the Ontario Winter Games. So we took a look at this a few years ago. Like to revisit it again to have a discussion around a bid for Sault Ste. Marie to host the Winter Games. We would be looking at 2028 is the bid year we'd be going after. Josh is in works right now with gathering what the bid contents would look like, what the requirements are, and getting that information together. There's a letter of intent that we submitted just to say that Sault Ste. Marie would be interested. We have until December to put forward a bid package. Just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. Winter Games typically brings in around 3,000 athletes. When we did it before, when we put the bid in, we looked at breaking it into 2 weekends versus trying to do it all in one because we didn't have the capacity. But that's what Josh is working on now, is to look at what we have. You may have, as a hotelier, received requests for information in terms of what you have for room inventory available. We have to show them everything that we have and then break it all out. Anything else you want to add to that, Josh?
No, I'm very excited to be taking a look at this. I think it would be a great opportunity, especially, in the early weeks of Q1 of 2028. And, always a great opportunity to showcase our city and our amenities to these athletes. I was down in London a few weeks ago via invitation from Tourism London Ministry. They were very kind to the representatives who were down there. We're able to spend 2 days asking a myriad of questions. And they set us up in some meetings with the right delegations, the right organizers. So we'll keep reviewing the information and what's expected of us, and I'll bring up the ladder and see where the conversation goes with our board of directors.
Okay.
That's all I had for update, yep,
That's it. Okay,
everything else is in the dashboard.
fantastic. Financial update.
Thanks. I think there was a financial statement, income statement that went on for the.
Yep.
I just quickly speak to it is, the big items down there is the general development. See, for that is. There's two big items in there, correct? There's the bus and the trail systems.
Oh, and the year-to-date totals, yeah.
The year to date.
Yeah.
So you'll see that the general development dollars are quite large, what's 130,000?
Yeah.
And off of that though is what we haven't gone in is the reimbursements from NOHFC and the SID.
Yeah.
So up in the revenue line, you'll see that there isn't any of those reimbursements as of yet, so we funded those particular projects out of our cash flow. So expect to see that big deficit is down there, it should shrink dramatically. Other than that, I don't think there's much else to say, other than, you know, we do have a couple of more big projects that'll end up being the same as that as we move forward, being the bridge across the
Wishart.
Wishart Park.
Any questions for Richard or the team regards to the financial statement?
And I gotta say, one other thing is we're having one hell of a problem, HST.
Oh, yeah.
I heard from them, like I heard from Turtle Lock today, so I will circle back on that and maybe have an answer by the end of the day tomorrow.
Okay, you're listed on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to new business, the Wishart Park tender approval. To you, Travis.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, as hopefully all of you recall, this is the project where we're connecting third to fourth line with the bridge over the Root River into Wishart Park. So it'll be a non-motorized multi-use trail, which will allow people to stay anywhere in town, use the hub trail and either mountain bike hike or snowshoe up to Wishart Park and into the Hiawatha Highlands once complete. So we've been working with WSP locally. We've got the engineering design, we've gone out for tender. We're in the process now of I think we've got the best tender that we could reasonably get for the bridge superstructure. So this is the bridge itself, but not the civil abutment work. We're looking for approval from the board to sign the contract for $256,000 plus HST. We've got currently about $850,000 set aside for the project. And we've also got an application that has been submitted to NOHFC. Hopefully we'll go to the board this fall for another $800,000. So we should have a hopefully quite a large buffer, which will invest in terms of some boardwalks in Wishart Park, some play equipment, and trying to make that like a true kind of outdoor adventure park, as well as hopefully connecting a new kind of alignment to Hiawatha to make it more user friendly. So the bridge right now is 256. We're estimating the civil work to about 350 to 450, and the trail construction to the from third line to fourth line will be about 150,000. So this is within the budget that we estimated, and I think it's a well-known manufacturer of recreation bridges, and they do it prefab, so they'll do it in their facility in Southern Ontario. They'll assemble it there. They can control manufacturing conditions. You know, it eliminates the risk, and then they'll ship it to Wishart Park and we'll assemble it there. So,
I'll be the first one to ask a question.
sure.
So we've already gone through our 430,000 or whatever we approved for trail development.
340, which is for Hiawatha Highlands, and then another 100K so far for this particular project.
So then, of the $1 billion project that we're estimating, how much is coming out of our regular eventually?
So we're gonna move the funds from the city to Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. That's an agreement that we're working on. So right now, as of right now, 350,000. We've got 60,000 from Trans Canada Trails and 390,000 from Infrastructure Canada that are currently allocated to the project. And another 100K that we're waiting to hear from with respect to the city as well.
Doesn't sound like we're very good at it. I didn't add those numbers up.
When we did the original calculation, which was for 1.2, assuming it was roughly 8% of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie was contributing 8% towards the
So
project.
if you're at 10 on 1.2, you'd be at 32.
Yeah, I haven't done the new math, which I can do. So the like it would be 5% of the project cost Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. And I can, for the next meeting, do the older percentage that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie has contributed to all of the trail projects relative to the funding that we got. I think it's an interesting exercise because the significant bulk of the funding has come from third parties, not Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. Obviously to our advantage.
I think you said there's a NOHSC application for that project too.
Yeah,
Are they
So-
looking 50-50 on that one or?
yes, yeah, so we can ask for matching funds, so we're looking for, I believe, about 800. Copy after being off on vacation. I'll have to double check, but it's at minimum at 800,000 that we would be looking at. Maybe up to 900, but I'll double check and get back to you.
Any other questions with regards to the Carrick Bridge project? Excited to see that finally moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to item number 7 is our Tourism Development Fund applications. Item number 8, Elena, if I could get you to do a quick introduction, please, for Walk Among the Trees.
What up, guys? Do you prefer to stand or sit? Stand? Okay, so just be aware there's a camera up here. So it's okay, they don't necessarily have to see you, but they're gonna wanna hear you. Tara, if you can pull up the presentation, please, for Mario and Cheyenne. We'll get the presentation up and then I'll do a quick introduction and then I'll turn it over to you. Everyone will have a chance to ask questions afterwards, so we'll let you go through and let's, if there's questions as we're going along, I suppose we can do that too. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have with us today, Mario and Cheyenne from Walk Among the Trees. They're an Indigenous owned ecotourism operator who currently provides walking tours, interpretive walking tours in the city. We've been working with you for a couple years now. Quite excited to see your business growing and see you looking to expand. They're going to be presenting to us today a project they're working on to create an Indigenous medicine and Three Sisters garden up at Kinsman Park to help enhance the tours that they're providing. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, nice to meet everybody. I'm Cheyenne.
I'm Mario. See, I'm a graduate of Sioux College. Also a graduate from you, a BA in Poland and a minor in Indigenous Studies.
I went to Sioux College many months ago with a background in child and youth work. So together we've met and created our little walking tour business that so far has just been really awesome, learning lots. We wanted to bring a medicine garden to Kinsman Park. It was more his idea.
So I approached Kinsman Park, I'm the caretaker up there, and Florence and the boards for Kinsman members, and they were all for it, so, you know, they gave us permission, to do it up there, so. That's everybody, like, it was a field by the pond. So, yeah, next. Cheers.
Yeah, next slide, Tara. Now you gotta talk, thank you, love.
There we go. Okay, so, I came up with this idea because at Ogama U, one of my professors, Dr. Andrew Judge, he creates these medicine gardens. And I was just amazed by, you know, the amount of food and the work and just everything behind it, like, you know, like our ancestors long ago did this. You know, and I'm sitting there trying to find the exact spot, because you have to find summer solstice, winter solstice, all that. And they did this without compass, and now I'm sitting there on my phone like this, you know, trying to find the exact coordinates where it is, and it's, I don't know, to me, it was just, I was just amazed by it. It's like, you know, so I mean, something I learned, and it's just something I want to pass on, you know, to our kids, to everybody else, you know, because it's, you know, it shows that, you know, we were a lot more, you know, we were leaders, politicians, we were doctors, hunters, fishermen, you know, there's a lot more to us than, you know, what people think, you know, it's just.
And the two of us already got it started.
Yeah.
It's just the two of us right now working on it. And as you can see in the picture, we have signs and lots of questions and lots of interest already, just in wondering what we're doing. Because it doesn't explain on the signs what we're doing, but we've already been getting lots of interest. On our tours, we've been already bringing them to the medicine garden and explaining and talking, and a lot of people have been interested in coming back next year to see how it looks and how it's grown. And
Because we've gotten visitors from Wisconsin, from Ohio, Michigan, Germany,
England.
yeah, so, and, you know, they're really interested in how this is gonna turn out. So. We can go to the next slide. So down, you know, you're all familiar with Kinsman Park down by that area by the pond. So we're just towards the pond, we're right side of the swing set.
Yes,
So it's from center, it's 20 feet, so it's 40 feet with the circle.
this is
This is,
a bird's eye view
Yeah.
of what we already have planned out and dug out.
oh, yeah, okay, so this outside part is the berm. And then there'll be a 2.5 foot path around. And then these areas right here we'll be planting the Three Sisters, which are corn, squash, and green beans. But we're also gonna plant sunflower and tobacco. And then you have another inner circle. Then some growing plots, and then in the center is a 5-foot circle where we'll have like a sacred fire. And yeah. So when, like, you know, we already have it's accessible, there's plenty of sunlight, you know, we had to make sure there was sunlight, and because that hill road going down, it provides some shade. But also from the northwest winds, it helps stop those winds from coming in. So, you know, we had to do a lot of research on that. And, yeah, we're gonna have like community engagement, so we're gonna have like work with different organizations, ITO, Northern Ontario, Indigenous Northern Ontario.
And hopefully school boards.
Yeah, school boards,
Bring in also our younger generations.
Superior Heights. Yeah, Superior Heights, they contacted us and they want to work with us. I think they said over 2,000 students. So we'll be working with them hopefully in the fall or later on. So these are our objectives, like cultural preservation and celebration, educational outreach, sustainable culture, health and wellness, community engagement, intergenerational knowledge sharing, food security and sovereignty and cultural competency and respect. I'm nervous, I'm sorry.
You're doing great.
Like I had this whole thing planned, I'm like, yes, we talked about it, here, you know.
I think just working on it, the two of us, it has shown us a lot of curveballs that we are needing a little help with, which is why we're
Yeah.
here. We've already gotten it started, like I said, but with help, hopefully from you guys, we can make it something in the long run. The way I see it for like longevity is it's not gonna look like that, it's gonna look like very amazing and it's gonna bring people in, and that's kind of what we want, is to just teach and learn and pass down it, so. We're doing it either way.
And it's, you know, that's, like I said, something our ancestors did, so, you know. This day and age, you know, we don't see this around. You know, there's one at Algoma U and then one at SKG. And this one here is based off the one at Algoma U that Dr. Andrew Judge did, so he's helping us with it. He's been advising us. You
I
know,
think if you have any questions at
Yeah.
this point, maybe we can answer anything that you might have, any questions about.
One, I think the next one might be the budget, that might.
Oh, the budget,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
next slide, please.
Okay.
Visitor goals. So, with ITO. I know this year, the, September 30th. They plan on. A bunch of people up there. So, you know, Jen telling us that, and then. So, you know, 73 meetings and conferences, 43 attraction partnerships, and, you know, with the cruise ships. You know, so hopefully we can work something out with the cruise ships and also with, you know, maybe Agawam trains or bush plane. The Miss Marie, you know, hotels, you know, maybe we can offer like a package thing where. I don't know, I had this idea where, you know, maybe 3 or 4 different tourist operators or something, you know, included with a hotel package, so they stay longer. Be something, one of the ideas is.
Next slide.
No, I was just saying, I think it's worth noting too that you're working with Indigenous Tourism Ontario with a business advisor to help. You know, refine the plans and to grow this out as part of the business. I think that's an important piece, that you do have a mentor that's helping guide you along this process. I think that's an important piece to share for everybody.
And it's not that you're offering that you need help with the gardens, but you're already doing the tours.
Yeah.
Like that's.
That's right.
And so this is our budget, the soil. It's about 1,800, the seed and plants would be in-kind donations. But I've also talked with Ideal Landscaper, they will get back to me about maybe donating some of the soil. Or waiving the delivery fees, so that would help. Educational materials, maintenance tools and equipment. Also the sign, because we plan on getting the sign, not sure if you guys are familiar with Mum Grum. They're a local company, he builds, it's Matt and Tina, I've known them forever. They build kayaks, canoes, they're just the two of them. And, so, you know, we're local, I've asked them if they can make a sign for us, and they're gonna get back to us about that too, so. So that should cut some of the expenses. Yeah.
The next one, I'll talk a little bit about what you're asking for.
So we're asking for about $5,000. Oh, the creation and maintenance of our elements. Garden. You know, already we've put in our own money, you know, we had to rent, a sod remover, you know, and all that, so we've actually have spent some of our own money from our company to do this. But we had to get it started, because by the end of October, we want actually to have the paths in, everything ready, so we can grow by spring.
Do you have any questions? I think the last slide, it just tells you a little bit about what your next steps are, so, and
Okay, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
partnerships. So, yeah, with local hotels, you know, group tours, Eggo Canyon tours, maybe local attractions, museums. Like I said, you know, maybe throw in, do like a package kind of thing. ITO. They're actually, yeah, because they're coming up with a website, that's, they said they would promote the garden for us. And. Oh, yeah, there's the in-kind donations, so SKG. They have the tobacco, cedar, sage, and sweetgrass. And Dr. Andrew Judge, he has all the three sister skits. Yeah, it should be some.
Next slide.
There we go. This one. All right. Oh, the one thing I'm really excited about is that seed sharing event. You know, that's one idea that we could do that would draw in tourists from all around. We are, because I know there's a CD Sunday that happens here. But if we could do that, then we could maybe make it a weekend event. You know, then we can do the teachings, share the garden. You know, teach them how to harvest. We can do it around when it's time to harvest. So that way they're there. Excuse me. And do all that stuff, like, you know, help. You know, harvest the garden, get the seeds, and then just get the garden prepared for the next season. So. I also work with other businesses around town and stuff like that, so.
I think there's one more slide.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading to myself. Okay, so planning, we analyze, design, and coordinate with the community. Implementation of source materials, begin planting, which will be in the spring. Education, launch workshops and tours, which we plan on doing with schools. Just local organizations. Engagement, promote events, and invite participation. Monitoring, will track the progress and adjust as needed. And the seed event, plan and organize a seed and sharing event. That's the last slide. Yeah.
You can breathe.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I will open it up to the board here for questions for Marjane.
I just have a couple questions.
Okay.
My brain's kind of blowing up with ideas. This show doesn't have a golden buzzer, but if it did, you get one. Because I think this is a slam dunk idea. First, just curious of what you're doing with what you grow in the garden.
We're gonna donate.
Right.
We're gonna share the seeds, the food, like to food banks, stuff like that.
Right.
And
And also we use them on our tours, because we also provide.
Oh,
so, yeah,
Great.
so I figured
Gotta see 'em.
squash, you know, we can like grill it up right there, we can make three sisters soup. Stuff like that.
That's great. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Also from a conference perspective, it's a great team building activity to bring a group out there in the middle of their conference to see what you do. So I think there's lots of ideas that would be great. So. Okay, good. Really
I
good.
feel like it's a missing element, you know, like it's something like, we don't. We're surrounded by our nature and. We understand how things it, like, that's. Missing element.
You know, and that's not the other part, like, the TLC trail. Like we take people on
Yeah.
that trip. You wouldn't believe how many different types of medicines are just on that trail, naturally growing there. You know, so that we could implement that on our tours too, along with the garden.
TLC trail, just so you guys know, you funded as part of the mountain bike. It's multi-use, yeah, it's amazing.
I tell
that
people
we
it's part
do
of
that
that
when we're selling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
I tell them to check out the website and all that stuff too. It's just beautiful.
Depending on sort of the. How traditional you want to be, the thought of a web camera. Where guests can QR code it and look and see how it's growing after they've left is,
Oh,
is
yeah.
if it's within your comfort level, these are really cool. things.
Yeah. Like even, it's like QR code.
Yeah.
Thing, you can scan it, and maybe get an update on a website.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get a website. Something like that.
We're gonna let pizza the edge of our site in the beginning until you guys get, you know.
Yeah.
They know they wanna be.
Yeah.
Especially.
Or I wanted to, there was one question that came up about security, you know.
Yes.
I can help you with that if you like. Mario is the caretaker at Kinsman Park. He locks the gates 10 o'clock, like 9 o'clock, sorry. And so he's right there on site with this guard, which is great because, you know, it's gonna need his helping hands, helping hands to help it grow. But not only is it by TLC, the beautiful mountain bike waterfall trail, but it's also right beside the graded boardwalk. Which brings people up into the other waterfalls, which is currently being resurfaced again with grant money from here, that Kingsway Park. Was successfully getting from the board, thank you. And so it's gonna have like a half day programming availability. So I think this will just be another amenity to be able to bring people right off the ships, bring them up there, spend a day in a car to see. Like, you know, 7 to 8 different waterfalls and having something like this, we interpret that it's on site.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
You know, and it's, we would love to, like, cause we offer food on our tours, but that area. We would love just to prepare the food there, you know, and like, we want this to be a hands-on experience for. You know, like Cheyenne said earlier, get their hands dirty, you know.
In a good way.
Yeah.
You know, we were just yesterday digging in that
Digging
garden.
out some weeds and stuff.
So good to like.
Yeah.
And now we're here in this
Yes.
beautiful room.
Yeah.
Thank you
And-
for hearing everything we had to say. I mean, you keep going, keep going.
Oh, yeah, and you know, also like down there, that area is like, it's wide, it's big enough, you know, maybe just build like a permanent shelter, because when we were down there doing the garden, we were sweating. So maybe like a permanent shelter or something, and just in front. So this is the garden itself, and the pond's right here. There's an area that slopes down. And I was thinking maybe in a year or so, maybe not next year, but the year after, we can start planting some more plants there, like raspberries, some cedar, stuff like that, you know. And just expand on it's.
what I think.
Yeah.
My wee little marbles are like running around my head. I was just talking to Lawrence about this, but I think, speaking with Kinsman, the two of you, you know, our team, we've started to think about like maybe a more detailed plan, in terms of how we can integrate all of these pieces, because I think Kinsman Park is still, I think from a tourist perspective and obviously from a local and cultural perspective, is completely underutilized. And I think that there's a huge opportunity there. I was just telling Lan, I went to Tuolumne Falls in Michigan on the weekends and I was like, really? But there's huge crowds and I think like we have so much more.
Tell it all the time. They can't even touch our trails.
Yeah.
They can't, like, I ski and run in North Bay and Sudbury, because I'm always on a hockey tournament, Timmins Park Run is like, what? You know, like, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you actually advertise this? Like, they can't touch our trails, like, we got that area is just so fantastic to use.
Yeah, and I think if we were to look at it, I think there's some discussions here and then coming back to the board with a bigger plan. For the park and signage leading into the park and a couple other things, but obviously you need the Kinsman's blessing as well as kind of a plan.
And then
Which,
so,
thank you.
so you guys have started it for this year, but the plan is that.
Start growing next year.
For into next year
Yes.
and really kicking it off in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate that year over year, then things will decrease expense wise for you? I mean,
After that, it would just be
that kind of thing?
maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Which we're there.
you know, and we're there.
Yeah,
And
so
we
that
have
this
summer
is,
students too that can help.
I get it going and then once it gets
Start,
going, it's
yeah.
self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Start, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's just. It's hard work, you know, year round, taking care of a garden. But it'll get easier. I said, you know, we're just learning this, so it's a learning process. But. Something we want to do.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for your time today and your presentation and your enthusiasm behind it.
We're gonna go work on it.
Nice, good to see you.
Thank you. Much.
Hey, does anyone have any thoughts or comment? Oh, we have to. Well, I think we have to leave it over, you know,
We have to leave the door open, yeah. Open meeting.
that's okay.
It's your. It's draining too many resources.
There's only so many, there are marbles up there too.
Any comments or questions or concerns with Joanna?
I'll just share, I've been working with Mario and Cheyenne since, well, years, but on this project for probably the last 6 months. Getting them up to the point where they can come in and deliver their presentation today. I just want to give them credit that they haven't given themselves. Like, these two are working their butts off to try and make this business go and to make this medicine garden go. And I know they mentioned that they're gonna do it with or without our support, but they really need our support. Like, they genuinely need, they genuinely need the support to get this up and running. And we've talked to tour operators, group operators when we were at RBC, kind of letting them know that this was coming down the pipes. And the interest is there. And I know I'm sharing this with people that understand, but the interest is there. They're on something really special here.
I just wondered if, maybe general development. So that they would get the money up front rather than have to pay out of their pocket and possibly dip into their own walk for the walk with the trees, walk among the trees. Out of that, like they would have to buy everything and then get reimbursed.
Yeah. And is that a transition that we can make without?
Yeah, it's your money.
Okay.
And I think 5,000 is light. I think we should just give them 10 grand.
One thing. I just want to plant the seed. But one thing, and I think this is a broader conversation with the Kinsman. One of the limitations, I think, to usage of that area is the road. And I think that kind of goes back to what I alluded to, like I think there's a bigger project here. I think they need the money ASAP, but I think when we start looking at, that park in general and how to program it, and obviously we need consensus approval to do that, but I think that there's something really significant here. But some of it's gonna require infrastructure upgrades, or at least. You know, that road,
That road, we keep it bumpy to slow the traffic down, but the road needs to change. 'Cause
Like
it goes
itself?
right, no, the entrance, cause it goes right through. To significant mountain bike areas.
Yes, right.
But I've looked into it, we have access on the far side, which will not interrupt anything. So we have a right of way to use the parking lot by the church, and the Sioux Fins Club.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, okay. I don't know.
all that property, and we can redo the
Redirect
road, it's already approved pretty much from our board. But it's the money.
Mm.
Down to about 3 or 4 people on that board that are actively doing the work, so we need some more people on our board. You think?
Do you spend a lot of time there in the winter? A lot.
yeah, I think we could get around that issue.
I just have a question about, like. I don't wanna sound like the negative guy. But how's it different than what's happening at, say, SKG, cause they have a garden. I know there's a garden out Oklahoma, they have a big. Project out Oklahoma going on with the Indigenous Center and stuff like that, so I just don't wanna make sure we're not double.
Not accessible.
Yeah.
Not accessible.
Must be, I thought
You wouldn't SKG technically. Going back there, but there's no tours, right? So you wouldn't necessarily, and not promote it, so you wouldn't know that it's there. I think. I mean, you've got a tour group that. Not only came from, training from Sioux College, but is being mentored by ITO, but also, oh my god, Forest in the Canoe.
Oh, yeah.
Who also operate the park.
Who also operate in the park, and then when you look on kind of the added benefits, the waterfalls, the pond, the kind of natural beauty, I think that you're getting like a lot more time in the community than these gardens that you wouldn't be able to get the full tour or full experience.
Okay, so follow up to that. Is there an opportunity to have that kind of thing with the infrastructure that's already there?
At Algoma, yeah.
You or as KG with their garden and stuff, like, did they, you know what don't we build on, you know what I mean, start, I understand, I'm just trying to get devil's
They're not
advocate.
open on the weekends.
Yeah,
But either you
Well,
can't,
I
you
think
can't do it
they're
on.
already doing tours, like Walk Among the Trees are bringing the tour up there already to do their tour.
well, there's,
And then this is added to their offerings.
I mean, you heard me was speaking about TLC. Which is a waterfall trail. So no to TLC, Lisa left
I
Lopez,
was
don't
like,
go
I
to
was
these
trying not to say it.
But,
I was trying, when you said it.
You said that with TL.
I'm gonna be saying
Um,
that all day.
But there's
Rest of the day
also
in my head.
other culturally significant. Plants in the area, so that it's like a much.
Just
Deeper
opens
experience.
the door to
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of other things.
I
Yeah.
think it just makes it more impactful here.
Just wanna get to the point where we have a bus coming for downtown. Like, you know what I mean, like, just like a tour, like, that's been something I've been.
That's right, I just wanted, like, when I first looked at the presentation, those are the things that came to mind, right, just to say. We already have some infrastructure, why are we building more infrastructure, where we could just say, is there. Whatever, an opportunity for them to work with, say, SKG to say, okay, let's. Like, I know SKG has their own gardeners
Mhm.
there and stuff, but. Like, the
People in need.
that's their, like, I don't know, I just.
So I think the conversation, I just briefly had it. With Lawrence, and we need to flush this out, but. One of the biggest draws that we have. In this area right now already is Crystal Falls. We put in that TLC trail and it goes by 4 waterfalls, I think. 4 or 5 waterfalls, so. Better developing that area is kind of waterfall. Route, which you could probably cover within. you know, if you're hustling 15 to 20 minutes, but for most people, it'll be, you know, an hour. Having this as a complementary asset to that, because I think you could eventually, once you develop that, you could have interpretive signage as well for ecologically significant, you know, plants. You've got, you know, amphibians, reptiles, you know, birds in the pond itself, and then work with them to do interpretive signage for culturally significant plants. Like, I think you can kind of weave this all into this waterfall trail, which makes it like highly marketable for us. Like, I think that's like, you could blow it out, and then we just need a liquor license and refurb the ice cream shop up at Kin Center.
Kids, we need them
Yeah,
to work.
so bigger component there, we just need to kind of plan it a little bit more and then, you know, kind of work with the board on how we execute that.
Imagine the Kin Center was like that, Tequanman Falls Brewery, like right
Oh, yeah.
there on property.
You would,
It's wild.
there'd
It
be
would
so much
kill.
money.
It would.
Well, I mean, any of it, like, so there's Common Falls, Unit thing. I was just down in Menominee and Marinette, Michigan, Wisconsin, and they all have that. You're open their tours, their tour guides, and there's a page on waterfalls and maps and. here's how you access-
Waterfall
People
trails,
do
right?
chase one.
Like,
Absolutely.
that's some things people search to look, go there
Yeah.
and like waterfall. Like,
Yeah.
and, well, the only thing everybody ever does is end up driving to.
And you can hit seven
Yeah.
on one
And
trip.
it's a quarter kilometer.
And this is like right in town.
Yeah.
Increase the stays in town, spending in town. It meets our
It's-
strat plan objective of being the best urban adventure, right?
Yeah.
So.
So I'm gonna draw us back to specifically with the medicine bill here before we move on to our other applications. Any other comments or questions on that? So with regards to the resolution, are we in agreement that we'd like to move it to a general development as opposed to the TDF? So that it is, that they can access the money and it's a straight up investment? I think so. Okay.
What was the GD, Richard? We had 500 something?
500 and something.
I think we can swing it.
Okay,
You're
so
like a
we will
master.
do,
Yeah.
Get him a t-shirt.
Five
Computer costs
thousand.
fast.
To it in general development.
Exactly. All about body budgeting.
I'm over budget. You made it already. You just set a good example for me. Sure.
Okay, so our next item is item B, Henderson Metals Fall Curling Classic with the Sioux Curlers Association.
Josh is gonna do.
Excellent, and this is, Richard had a conflict with regards to the application. Josh, take it away.
Scheduled for October 17th, 20th. If everyone's familiar, last year, the Sioux Curlers Fall Classic was a great success, now changed to the Henderson Metal Fall Classic. Features 28 of the top men's curling team from around the world, Canada, USA, Italy, Switzerland, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Pleasure to see those teams in our community. I was able to be there for a few days. What's interesting about the event is they've been able to secure an over $100,000 first prize. It's a significant draw. And close to the cap of what they're allowed to offer for a purse. There are some rules and regulations around that, so they have to maintain just under what some large like Grand Slams offer. Last year, we did fund the event so they could upgrade their streaming capabilities, which I think made it one of 8 in Ontario that could stream, and it was streamed. Their numbers were 20,000 worldwide, something along those lines, which is great exposure. Putting it through the attendance projection, they're hoping to see 206 visitors over 5 days in October, which is phenomenal. And when staff put it through the matrix, it scored an 85, landing it in the 15 to 20,000 category. So staff analysis, the Curlers Association is an extremely reputable hosting legacy. It's one of the only Northern Ontario locations with 8 rinks. We really think that the first annual was a measurable success. We're happy to see that there is a dedicated marketing budget and has outsourced marketing efforts to third-party marketing experts to work on out-of-town visitation. And accommodations, ticket packages, and promotions are already well underway. An NOHFC application has been submitted alongside an investment from the club to cover remaining costs. And the request in this TDAF is specific to increase their audio capabilities in the club. Those are legacy equipment that is well past its life expectancy. So with the upgraded streaming and with those hundreds of people that were at the event, they want to make sure that they can present the best quality inside of the location as well as while they stream. So the total request is $7,612.39, which we're recommending that the tourism board of directors.
It's 1/3 of the cost. They're gonna put in a portion and OHFC, so it's kind of a 3-way funded. Yeah.
And I was gonna say 7,000 doesn't really seem like it's gonna get you back.
Yeah.
For audio, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I do have a quick question, it's the feedback that I got from last year's event. I like the event myself, I didn't get a chance to attend last year, but, my mother-in-law and her sisters are big fans and they traveled for curling. Like, how's the, like, viewing, seating things arranged for this event there? Because that's one critique that they had, was not being able to get a proper view or something. It's been a long time since I've been in the curling club, but
No, and I'd agree with you, and that's something that the organizers absolutely know, because in our meetings, they talked about enhanced and better seating. So they've heard that feedback as well, and they've already been kind of planning. What they did is they took, they only operated on 2 sheets, I believe. Last year.
They had
Was it
more than that. I
4
think
sheets?
they cut out some where the streaming couldn't.
Right,
See?
okay, so they were running on 4 sheets and they had bleachers running alongside of one edge of the sheets. And then they had a dedicated bar as well as kind of bar stool seating along the other run. And then they had their spectator seating where the restaurant is. But I don't know their exact plans, but I absolutely know that they've heard that critique and they're hoping to, well, they are.
Working on more bleacher seating and.
Yeah, I can answer a little bit of that based on feedback, which was the curler, they were concerned the curlers wouldn't necessarily want people that close, and the curlers actually loved it. And the spectators that got to sit right on the ice, once they realized they needed a cushion and a blanket and wool socks, loved it. So it's really great seating for some, but then for the people and maybe
yeah, I don't know
people
what they said.
over 50, didn't want to go out on the ice, stayed up in the bleachers, is not as good. But I think their plan is pretty solid to do that. Personally, think it's a big enough event that GFL can handle it, and it would do okay, but that goes against the whole Curler
That's right.
Club plan. So,
I was in attendance and I can just say from a personal bias, I was at the bar side for most of the afternoon, just had a great time and I didn't get kicked out. So that's great.
Watch any of the curling?
What's that? There was curling?
Any of the curling?
Yes, about 20% of it.
Sorry, my question was gonna be,
Yeah, sorry.
I know they're streaming. So is there an opportunity for us to play our
Yes,
whatever commercials of our area and stuff like that?
already done.
yeah, did last year. Yeah, it's good.
And that's it.
And room nights perspective was north of 150 last year. If you want numbers.
It's good.
That's without Gush. Yeah, that goes up with Gush.
100%.
Agreed. I don't know if it will
100%.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Josh here with regards to the Henderson Metal Fall Plaza? It's pretty straightforward. Festival of Colors, John.
Yep.
No problem. The festival colors, I will just say on the matrix that was submitted, you have a date of October 18th, 19th. On the actual summary, it's 7th, so that was an error. I apologize. We are looking at October 18th, 19th. The Viticultural Center is hoping to run a festival of colors here in Sault Ste. Marie. When speaking with their chair, the goal of putting it in Sault Ste. Marie was that they would create a central hub for the cultural event in Sault Ste. Marie to gather people from the Upper Peninsula of the United States, Sudbury, North Bay, and regionally, as opposed to having a whole bunch of little ones all around Northern Ontario. And I think you can see just based on the population that our community is changing, as well as going to different restaurants inside of Northern Ontario, that we've had an influx of different cultures coming in the community. So the whole goal was to launch this, but with kind of making it as a homecoming to Sault Ste. Marie specific. It should be noted that although this event hasn't applied for a TDF, I did some looking and some validating in regards to some of the Viticultural Society's work in Sault Ste. Marie over the last few years. They've hosted a similar event to this Festival of Color in Sault Ste. Marie. I've been able to capture some media on the events, as well as speak to some venue locations where they've outgrown where they've been hosting in the past. The estimation of visitors is 612 over 2 days, and I will get back to that in a second. Moving on to the budget, their expected revenues are $17,500 with expenses of $37,400. And their scoring matrix based on their application puts them inside of a 66 to 75, which is 5,000 to 10,000. Staff analysis, this event has been going for a number of years, to pre-COVID. Then they were, forced to stop, and then post-COVID. From Thunder Bay, it's been reported that it was organized professionally and growing in attendance year over year. With that, I would like to note that just based on some, event experience, that the estimated attendance from out of town visitors seems to be inflated. The scoring in the scoring matrix is exactly based on consultation and conversation with organizers since January, and the numbers have kind of landed here.
And there'd be no place for them to stay because the city's full. So you're not gonna give the.
It's right after, isn't it? Right after.
It's the weekend after.
Oh, sorry, no problem. No, I had said in the summary, I had made an error. I apologize. With the significant rise of our Indian population, though, staff think that an investment in the event would be fair. I mean, when we have conversations in regard to hosting the Festival of Beer or the Italian Festival, based on the numbers that they have suggested, we've made a recommendation based on those numbers for $5,000 to support the event.
Would it be worthwhile for this to be, because I kind of can see the being approach. The event seen as, I believe we're still in a pilot area, even though the RNIP program and stuff is permanent. I think this is still one of the targeted areas, it's under service and stuff like that. But I'm wondering if it'd be worthwhile project for our events person to work hand in hand with the organizing committee to be able to better evaluate, say, the numbers going forward and stuff like that. See if it is like a viable long-term festival at a kind of a end of the season time, which I think works well. The timeline, sometimes, where a lot of things get piled up in the summer, it's supposed to get pushed to the fall. So I'm wondering if it's something that we see, we want you to work closely with our events coordinator to plan, organize, this event in order to get our support, so to speak. Or if I'm being a little bit too much asking.
Are you asking for it to be moved to the summer? Is that what you're?
No,
Oh.
leaving it where it is, but
It's like,
working
yes,
with
it's
our
serious.
events.
It's like getting to- It's culturally
That'd be seven.
significant.
Yeah, no, I think that's
Sorry.
Cause obviously the concern is the inflated numbers, right? So you can say, okay, that sounds great, but I mean. If you go online, 'cause I went online to look up Festival of Colors and see videos from India, like it's fun. You know, it's just seems like a good time. But. You know, can it have legs and can it, even if it can grow to the numbers that. They're being by centralizing the festival here instead of having small.
It's an interesting case study, you know, Alana has been giving me some guidance in regards to this, because we've had this conversation at the board level in regards to what's a community event, what isn't, how are we gonna keep reevaluating this, and you know, this is probably the first time that we put this asterisk on. You know, we're looking through the lens of what has been successful in the community, what are the numbers in comparison to similar events? And how does that kind of interact in a staff recommendation, right? So
Are they still doing the one in Thunder Bay?
they are,
And it's the same organizers that have been doing the one in Thunder Bay for the last. few
the
years?
lead organizer is, who has connected with our local Vedic Cultural Center. He's a physician who does locum in Sault Ste. Marie, on a regular basis. So that's why, we're having this conversation, like the Thunder Bay serves one market. This one would serve hopefully another market, as opposed to just, you know, all these different organizations and newcomers who don't maybe have all the resources or not as clicked into processes. You know, Algoma Public Health and things along those lines, vendors, sound. So if we made kind of bigger ones where people kind of come together. And in that note, we've also spoken with our local immigration partnership coordinator. Connected him with Dr. Gani in regards to connecting with the different cultural groups and colleges and universities ahead of this application.
And what are the earned revenues? So is there ticket sales that go with it, or is it from concession, or where does the earned?
Both, yeah,
revenues
there is a ticket sale, and then there's a purchase price for, say, the color bombs that they use, as well as the food, so it's kind of a diversified amount, but anything you would see at a different sort of festival, right? You buy a sandwich and then you buy face painting for your kid, et cetera, et cetera. There's some sort of take back into the festival.
Any other questions with regards to the Festival of Color? Okay, the last one on the docket is item D, the Algoma Resident Invitational.
This is an exciting one. It's a revival of the successful high school wrestling tournament that maybe some of you are aware of, that brought over 300 youth athletes to Sault Ste. Marie from Ontario and Michigan. The event date is December 13th and 14th. Great to see that. The new tournament aims to break 200 participants in its first year. You'll see the attendance projection doesn't completely match the economic impact, and that's because the applicant was kind of aware that you'll probably see some folks from regional or USA not stay, so there was a little bit of a factor in that when it came to the 90 visitors over 2 days projected. Revenues $5,500, with expenses being $700 or $7,350. When we put it through the matrix scored a 36 to 55, landing the $1,000 to $2,500 mark. What I like about the application inside of the TDF proper, it's a really great example of this galvanization or partnership within the wrestling community. It's not just one group going after reviving this, but one group who has contacted another group and contacted another group to kind of amalgam all of the vested interest in the community, which is already a really great sign. You know, we talk about one great car show instead of 10. It's nice to see them all on board in advance of their first annual. As such, we're considering funding a recommendation up to $2,500 for a travel incentive for Northwest Ontario participants. They want to kind of fish hook that audience that used to come to Sault Ste. Marie. Banners and backdrops and venue rent. So the recommendation to our board is to fund the event up to $2,500 for those key items in their budget.
You talk about the teams that are coming here. It's not necessarily school teams, it will be wrestling teams, or is it?
It's wrestling teams. Yeah, sorry about
We talked about the school system, so I wasn't quite sure.
that. Yeah, no, sorry about that. This isn't integrated in either the school boards.
What was their ask?
He had no idea where to land and ask. He didn't know what was appropriate. He didn't know what was too much. And I went back and forth and I said, well, this is kind of where you're hovering around. And he said, well, I don't want to put anything too high or too low. So maybe they can tell me what might be best. So it was a funny conversation, but I don't know. Maybe he's hoping for what the best recommendation is, or maybe he's hoping for $1,000 more. I don't know what the thought behind that was.
This is the guy that's gone to the international, something or other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Present wrestling was something Jew.
If anyone knows
Yeah.
how to run it, it's
Absolutely.
I've witnessed he's done other events that have been fantastic, so.
I guess which begs the question, I guess it's the ambition to develop it into some sort of qualifying tournament or some sort of bigger competition or.
So when I asked him that, I asked that question directly. It was a conversation that needs to be had with the partners. They know that they want growth, but they also want to see kind of how the first year runs. I guess we would have to look into this provincial sports organization and what groups are in town and how we can qualify for that. But that's a great question for a debrief. Is there a way that we can go after something sanctioned? I know Sault Ste. Marie sanctioned or held sanctioned things in the past prior to my time. And I know that they come available in the Bible that we get access to year over year. So that's a great question. I haven't thought that far.
No, yeah, just because I know these organizers hardcore into that world, right? So that's why I asked that question. That's.
Brent's also a high school teacher and has a good relationship with the board in there, and I think he could really push that board to expand to, other boards and bring something really special here. My experience with Brent is he is incredibly professional, incredibly detail oriented. You have to be able to get to the level he's at. And nothing but good things to say about this program.
I'd like to even point one more thing out in regards to that is Brent and I have had quite a handful of detailed conversations. He's attended our sports mixers over the last few years. And it has kind of been like, well, nothing's right. I don't want to waste the time with the board, or I don't want to ask for money if it's not right. And that has been happening almost since like the time I've been here. So the fact that he has now applied for something gives me a lot of confidence in the application.
He said a couple of things that he's wanted to do, like wrestling events and stuff, and he gets to he's like, it's not gonna be viable.
Yep.
Like he's very, very realistic in his expectations and his. It's not like crossing his fingers and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
And I'm sorry, what was gonna be the receipts on this one for more venue rental and mat transportation or?
Banners and backdrops, venue rental, and then a travel incentive. One of the things that they've kind of noted is that I guess when maybe Brent was younger, or the history of Sault Ste. Marie, there was an invitational that captured a lot of people from Western Ontario and they've moved on to other markets, but there are a lot of coaches and, people that are still aware of what the Algona Invitational was, so they want to incentivize bringing those people back to ours specifically.
Okay, any other questions or comments with regards to the Algona Invitational? Wrestling. Banana.
I just want to bring to everybody's attention, you may have noticed some revisions in the evaluation matrix. This was directly from the feedback we received, over the last probably 12 months of working with these TDFs and looking at how do we want to evaluate them. So I did a lot of work around a revised scoring system that implements a lot of the objectives from our strategic plan. So you'll see a lot of the core evaluation is still the same based on numbers and visitor days. But then there's also some new pieces that have been added in that is assessing, you know, the detail of their budget, their marketing plan, all of the kind of core pieces of running an event. And then the bottom section is where our strategic plan priorities will surface up. So if it's an event and it's in, you know, it's showing growth and there's some extra points, almost like a bonus point system. If it's, you know, bringing downtown activation, if it's showcasing some of the, you know, best in class things that we want to try and bring to the surface. So we've put every event since the beginning of the TDF through this new system to kind of vet it out and see. Some of the ones that we've done have landed almost exactly the same. Some of the ones that we kind of thought maybe should have surfaced up with a higher priority did that. And the ones that we kind of thought maybe we should bring down a little bit did that. So I think we're onto something here in terms of evaluating these. We're gonna test this one for the next probably 6 months and see how it goes, but just wanted to kind of let you know how this came to be.
I love that you put the old ones back through to do a comparative on not how they.
Yeah, we put and then we put like, we created events. I created like you know, in my mind, okay, this is what this could be, and I put it through just to see where things would shake out. There's also an extra, the point system has been expanded out, so there's more range in there.
Question is, when we do the approval on this and it goes before city council, do they get to see this? If not, maybe they should.
They see the recommendation based on the score. Yeah.
They might. Now that you've got that and it's a part of our strategic plan, maybe it would be a good idea to say, here it is.
But they've yet to ever question anything that's gone through. So until they question it, I don't know if I want to rock that.
They did a question, one question, last. Comment.
Comment?
Comment.
Oh, it's-
Atomica, well, no, because the product development doesn't go through this, just events go.
Something I think.
Okay,
Time do we get, how much time do we, when we give somebody, how much time do they have to report things that we have?
They have a year to submit their claim. So they can't claim any funds until they submit their report, and they have a year to do that.
but they don't get the money.
They don't get the money until they have. There's a lot that they have to do to get the money. Right?
Yeah, I think the concern is less about them getting the money, more so about if big events are doing the things that we expect them to do.
Yeah. So part
I'd
of.
like to know that sooner than a year.
So part of what we do as staff is we'll follow up and do a debrief with everybody after the event. We collect kind of the initial data that we can, and then they have a year to submit an actual final report that's signed off on, and then to claim their money. But we're in touch with them ahead of that to try and stay, you know, abreast of what's going on with these events. Whether they give us the information or not, it's not always.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, it's easy for me to say, to ask, okay, these guys came last year.
Mhm.
Did they give you the report time, how long did it take, them? Did they just report it at the last minute so they can get their next application ready? Cause I know we've discussed about, having people submit applications for events way in advance. To give the time to the marketing support and all that kind of stuff, right?
I think where you'll see any comments that staff would have would be on the previous TDF application section in here. A lot of times you'll see a little note where we'll put some of the numbers or some of the feedback that we've received, or if there's any kind of a question mark
Or
outstanding,
concerns
yeah,
that we had.
it'll be embedded.
Which is a fairly new document, like we've just recently.
Yeah, it's probably been 6 months since we've had this one.
Feels.
It is still relatively new, yeah.
I don't know where the last.
Okay, thank you, Alana, for updating us on that report. Number 8 is outstanding business. We have anything that fell into that? No? Okay. We're a little bit ahead here. We can move into the resolutions. So the first resolution we have ahead of, in front of us is the Wishart Park tender approval. That resolution is gonna read as follows. Be it resolved that the Board of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie authorize the chair of the board to enter into a contractual agreement with Algonquin Bridge for the sum not to exceed $256,868.43 excluding HST for the purchase of the Wishart Bridge superstructure supply and delivery. Do I have a mover for this one?
Just want to say that I want to ask, is the bridge going to be like the bridges at Fort Creek, like those kind of
Close to it.
trestle type bridges or
Yeah.
what do they call them?
Like the big one.
Yeah,
or the
it'll be
little
like
one?
a Bailey Bridge, which will be like that with the, you know, the side structures. It'll be very similar. We had some, it was originally so a couple things that have changed. One, it was supposed to be 90 feet, and then because of our conversations with the M&R, it's now 140 feet. Originally, as part of that 90-foot structure, we had an arch. In terms of our kind of cost refinement, we did away with the arch.
All we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a mover for this resolution? Lawrence and a seconder? Kevin? And all in favor? And that motion carries. Okay, so the second one that we have is with regards to the Walk Among the Trees Medicine and Tree Sisters Garden. And it reads as follows. Be it resolved that the Tourism Sault Ste. Marie Board of Directors recommend a contribution of $5,000 through the Tourism General Development Fund to support Walk Among the Trees to develop an Indigenous medicine and Three Sisters Garden at Kingston Park. Do I have a mover for this?
Were we gonna change that?
Let's throw our
General.
She did.
General, yeah,
It said tourism development. Fund.
Oh, because you're reading the old, yeah.
take the tourism with it.
oh, just tourism, oh, okay,
So it's not.
General.
so it's just general development, not the tourism general development.
Was it 5 or did we want to cover their entire cost? $7,800, whatever that was.
Lawrence, do you have the slide? Should I didn't bring it?
My, I was thinking the same thing, Nick, and, but my suggestion would be. They.
Oh, yeah, on the slide.
It's a,
But it was.
Yeah, from this slide,
It's in
it's
there.
like blank.
oh, it's blank.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
here.
measurable results is blank too. I was like,
How weird is
That
that?
is
Yeah.
correct.
They PDF to PowerPoint.
It just-
it's animated. Yeah,
Okay.
I left it animated and.
So we don't go offhand what it was.
It was
Terrible, no, yeah.
7,116 something.
7,160.
Very specific.
So.
I'll ask.
1,116.
No, I was thinking that we should just go $10,000.
I'd like to see it, because this is just gonna cover the garden, I would like to see it done. Right. Really nice with maybe some lead up into it, maybe they need a barbecue down there to make this meal this spring. That's gonna be the next big thing that they're gonna need. I'd like to see. At least either have that leeway, or maybe we could write it that we'll give them the funding for that. Up to a certain amount, depending on the.
That getting the. They're only gonna be able to do so many things before the end of the season this year, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, some of the soil prep and whatever, and some of the other expenses don't happen till
Spring,
spring, right?
so they come back for that.
So you could always say, I'll give you this, come back in the spring, give you a. Super another application, telling them. You know what I mean? Which is not gonna give you that.
You'd like to be able to do that for the summer.
If we're gonna do that, we're better just to do line resolutions. We'll give you 5 now and 5.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. We could split it, so do 5 now and 5 and
There you go.
Spring.
7/31.
Oh, there we go.
7/31.
Thanks, Sarah.
So
Okay,
we give
so-
them that and say, in the spring, when that's done, if you want to expand it, we would like to see you expand it. We'd be more than happy to hear. Another another plan for expansion or be involved in or talk to you about.
Okay. So we have a couple, we can go with the 771 right now to cover the expenses that they have as of right now, and then. What,
Because if we cover the expenses, that's also cost that they don't worry about, that they can then purchase things that they may need in the spring. Like a cooker or anything like that, because they don't have it, or shelter.
so at 771, do we just want to round it to 7,800 then, and then we can entertain in the spring? And then it's not just a open ended.
Who has the conversation? You?
I'll be talking to them.
So then you can explain what we're talking about, right? They're gonna give you money. They think it has even more, like, we love the potential and more than happy to help once you get that started.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Keep it going.
And so it's just general development funds still, right?
Yeah.
So the revised resolution is going to read, be it resolved, the Tourism Sault Ste. Marie Board of Directors recommend a contribution of $7,800 through the General Development Fund to support Kinsman or Walk Among the Trees to develop an Indigenous medicine Three Sisters Garden at Kinsman Park. And we don't need the report, so do I have a mover on this one? Nick? Seconded by Kevin, and all in favor. Okay, that one's done.
Thank you.
Next one is with regards to the Henderson Metal Fall Classic. So the resolution would read, be it resolved that the Tourism Sault Ste. Marie Board of Directors recommend a contribution of $7,612.39 through the Tourism Development Fund Conferences and Special Events Stream to support the Henderson Metal Fall Classic to be held October 17th to 20th, 2024, and a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover for this one? Dawn and Melissa as a seconder. And all in favor? And that one carries. Final resolution is with regards to the Festival of Colors. It reads, be it resolved that the Tourism Sault Ste. Marie Board of Directors recommend a contribution of $5,000 through the Tourism Development Fund Conferences and Special Events Stream to support the Festival of Colors to be held October 18th and 19th, 2024, and a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover for this one? Tracy and Jack is the seconder, all in favor? And that one also carries. Okay, that is all of our. Oh.
Let's go get Randy one.
So it's not just-
Gotcha.
Yeah. On the bottom of the application.
I know, it was just buried. Okay, wrestling. Be it resolved that the Tourism Sault Ste. Marie Board of Directors recommend a contribution of $2,500 through the Tourism Development Fund Conferences and Special Events Stream to the Algoma Invitational Wrestling Tournament to be held December 13th and 14th, 2024, and a report submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover for this resolution? Lawrence and a seconder? Melissa, all in favor? And that one also carries. All
You got it.
right. Okay, so our next meeting brings us to September 17th, 2024. Thank you everyone for your time today. Do I have a mover out of Ruthie? And a seconder? Yeah. And we are done for today.